So the focus there would be to practice using the words said or asked or responded or replied instead of like. Another thing that I can focus on, and then we'll cut. Okay. So I'm going to go back. So the key there is to practice. So the key there is to practice using words like said or responded or replied or asked instead of like. So the key there is to practice using the words asked or said or responded or replied instead of like. And there's another thing I would need to practice, which is to try to focus on those sentences in which I'm using like unnecessarily. It's just a filler word that is not needed whatsoever in the sentence. And one way to practice that would be just to be aware of when it happens. So when I'm talking to someone, if I heard myself throwing in a like when it wasn't necessary, I might, when I have a moment, try to remember that sentence. Or write it down and then rehearse that same sentence without the like. With a little bit of rehearsal, okay, so then we can cut. All right. All right. Almost done. Okay. Yep. So I'm going to come back to this. So the key there is to practice using words like said or responded or replied or asked instead of like. Another thing I could practice is trying to eliminate the word like from my sentences when it's adding nothing. And one thing I might think about there is whenever I hear myself do it, I might try, at the first opportunity that I have, to write down the sentence that I said or try to remember it, and then later repeat that sentence, that same sentence, without the word like. And then we're going to cut to something. If you hear yourself say, "He was like crying," try to remember to practice repeatedly the same sentence or one similar without using like. He was crying, he was crying, he was crying. No need for "he was like crying." All right, listen. Okay, so you finish that. He was crying. You don't have to keep using the word like. Okay. All right. So we just finished that. He was like crying. Okay. You don't have to continue to use the word like too much. If this is something that you want to change, with a little bit of information and a little bit of practice every day, a minute or two every day, reviewing those situations in which like gets used too much and rehearsing sentences without the word like, you can make a lot of progress. You can do it. Can I hear that last part again? I think it was decent enough. Is there any way you could just rewind that last 10 seconds?